Couple things I want to add, guys, to making sure your content is appropriate, because this is key. Who are the other speakers that may be there? Okay? Who are the other speakers that may be there? Now, some of you may be thinking there's nobody else. It's just me. Right? I'm the only one speaking. Okay? Well, let me ask you this. Is there anyone else introducing you? Okay? Are they going to introduce you in the way that you'd like to be introduced? If there's not anyone else introducing you, who are the other speakers in the audience? Meaning, what are those people going to say? Okay, again, you have to tweak your material depending on who the other speakers are, who's introducing you, and who the people are in the audience that are speaking. Let me give you an example. Okay, I have been in situations where I've done business speaking to corporations, and there were 3 speakers before me. One was an economist, okay, one was a CFO, and the other was an organizational management guru. All right, none of them were very interesting to listen to. Okay, so here's what I had to assess when I stood up. What is the mood of this room right now? The mood of the room was, God, please make this 4th speaker get done soon, because I can't wait to get out of here, right? So I had to come in with a ton of energy. Now, if I'm going to go and speak to a crowd, just dealt with someone who was very entertaining, I don't need to do that. In fact, maybe I want to bring the crowd down a bit so that I know they're paying attention to me and not thinking about the previous speaker. Okay.
And you listen to all the speakers?
Absolutely, 100%. Here's why you want to listen, and I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm going to address that, actually. Listen to speakers. Before I get to that, I want to make sure. Now, if you go into a room that's already pretty excited because the speaker before you was great and they were really entertaining and now it's your turn, you may want to actually bring the room down a bit, okay, so they engage with you, and then you can bring them back up yourself. So you're going to control this roller coaster of emotion in the room, but you want to make sure you're controlling it, not the audience controlling it. Okay? Why would you want to listen to the other speakers before you? Couple reasons. Number 1, sorry if I misspell this, relevance. You want to be relevant when you're speaking. A great way to be relevant when you're speaking is to listen to the other speakers before you and comment, use commentary on things they mention. Because just like Bob, who was speaking before me, who was talking about X, Y, and Z, I'm going to talk about A, B, and C. All right? That makes you relevant. They know, hey, Nick is an audience member just like me. He was listening to Bob, who spoke before him. Okay? It makes you relevant. All right? Number 2, you want to listen to other speakers because it gives you an opinion. All right? There were some things that Bob said before that I really liked. However, Bob and I actually disagree on the next point, and I would like to give you my viewpoint on that. Right? It's okay to disagree. Why? It separates you when you have an opinion that's different than Bob's or Jane's before you. Okay? Any other thoughts on information you've gotten from listening to other speakers? I will add those up here. If you don't have any other speakers that are speaking either before you or after you, reference other speakers virtually. Say, guys, I'm going to give you some information today, but what I'd really like you to do as homework is don't take my word for it. Check out, John Thompson. Check out Jane Smith. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them at their book, in their book, whatever. Reference other speakers to give them relevance to what you're saying. You don't just want to say, hey, take my word for it, I'm the end-all be-all expert. Give them some reference. So reference virtual speakers that might not even be there. All right? So other speakers are absolutely key. What will that do? Here's the why behind it. It establishes you as a credible source. It establishes you as a credible source. Questions on that? Any other questions on making your content appropriate for any audience?
So to be credible, you don't sound like you're a cult leader? Is that what it is?
Well, to be credible means this. Are you transparent? That's what credibility is. Credibility means I make no qualms about the fact that I'm going to tell you what I know, and I'm going to tell you what I don't know. And I'm not going to tell you anything that I think I know, but I'm not really sure about. That's credibility. If you come up to the front of the room and say, I don't know anything about cardiac health, that just establishes you as a credible speaker because they know you're not going to speak about cardiac health. Okay? Now you might be saying, well, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Credibility is about being transparent and honest.
But that's a great line, though.
Okay?
A great opening line first.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's not what you're going to talk about.
Right. I'm not here to talk about clowns. Right? You're going to get a chuckle, but you just created some relevancy and some perspective. All right. Sometimes it's as important to tell them what you're not going to talk about as it is to tell them what you are going to talk about. All right. For example, I'm here to talk to you today about the mechanics of putting together a great public speaking engagement. What I am not here to talk about is to tell you how to present your material. Okay, you present your material the way you want to present it. I'm just here to tell you how to organize your content and make it exciting. Right? So I told you what I'm going to do. I framed it out. I told you what I'm not going to. That's an example, okay, of what I'm talking about. Other questions on this? Yeah.
Okay, suppose
Good.
that you sell something. Okay, you want to sell something, or you want to get people interest in an organization that you think that's going to do lots of good. How do you do it?
Heaven and hell. This is a strategy to sell something. Okay? Heaven and hell. When you are trying to sell something, you need to create a virtual hell, essentially, okay, if they don't have whatever it is you're trying to sell. What will their life be like without it? Okay? And then once you've created that pain, that problem, like Anna Maria said, then you create the heaven if they do.
Okay, give an example.
Great. I am selling gym memberships. Okay? I'm selling gym memberships. Okay? How many of you people in the room, and you guys be honest with me, how many of you people in the room feel like you are absolutely 100% in the perfect physical condition that you'd like to be right now? How many people? One. Okay, there's usually, and guys, by the way, let me give you a sidestep strategy tactic. Whenever you're asking a group question like that, there's always going to be one or two people that raise their hand in the direction that you're not looking for. That's okay. Acknowledge that and say, yeah, that's normal. There's always one or two people that are in peak physical condition. And then there's always 98% of the rest of the audience that isn't. Now let me ask a second question, ladies and gents. How many people would like to be? Great. So here's my question for everyone, and here's how you engage them to sell it. Here's my question. What's it going to cost you in the next year, 3 years, or the rest of your life if you're not? What's it going to cost you emotionally? What's it going to cost you physically? What's it going to cost you, quite candidly, financially? To not have the vibrancy and the energy that you'd like to have. What does that cost you virtually every area of your life? Go ahead, take a second right now, everybody. Write that down, what you think it'll cost you physically, emotionally, and financially. Get your audience to write it down. Great. Now add those three things up and how much that means to you. Right? How many people are feeling pretty good about their physical health right now? Not so many of us, right? What if I could show you a way to take care of all of those things physically, financially, psychologically, and emotionally? Would you want to hear some strategies? Because I have the 3 secret strategies to overcoming all of those. How many people would be interested in hearing that? Show of hands. Okay? That's how you sell it. That's how you sell it. The power of...
Financial and what?
I said physical, financial, and emotional, okay? The power of 3, okay? If you want to get people to listen to whatever it is you're talking about, there is power. Now, I don't know why this is. I don't know the why behind it, but I do know that there is empirical data and study after study that show humans remember things in threes. I don't know why, but they do. They remember things in threes. So what I would do is chunk down your information to a set of 3 things. And here is another strategy that will get people to listen. How many people in the room right now, by the way, let me do a quick poll. How many people in the room want to know a secret? Everyone wants to know secrets, right? What are they saying? What's the secret, right? I want to know what the secret is.
We can tell somebody else.
Right? Offer secrets. I'm going to let you in on the secret. I'm going to give you 3 secrets. I'm going to tell you the secret that nobody else has told you. Okay?
That nowadays, I mean, every person gets up and says, I've got the 3 hidden, you know, I get, well,
There's no, well,
making a ton of money.
I will tell you this, guys. I will tell you this. In some cases, it's absolutely imperative to innovate and be different. And in other cases, there's no need to recreate the wheel. Right? If something is working, then use it. So my strategy on that, to answer your question, because it's a valid question, is until it stops working for you, use it. Okay? I've been doing this for a lot of years, and I will tell you, 98% of audiences still respond to hell, heaven, power of 3, and secrets. Okay? I want to make my audience feel some pain. Because if they don't feel pain, guys, they're not going to act on whatever it is I'm talking about. I mean, think about it. Do people really respond to problems or solutions? They respond to problems, right? When do couples go to counseling? When there's a problem or when things are great? Right? When there's a problem, right? When do people generally buy gym memberships? When they're already in shape or when they need to lose some weight after the holidays? Right? Problems will motivate. I cannot issue that enough. Yeah, question?
Before you go off on the subject, I'm thinking in my sales, okay, what I normally, when I go see a client, and if you notice, I don't say customer, I say client. And I'm here to offer 3 services. The first thing I do is, well, what are your concerns? What's bothering you? And I usually start by saying, so in a way, I'm like, what's your hell? I have the solution, but let me see what's your situation.
Okay.
But you taught me now to do a secret.
Yeah. I'm going to give you another strategy right now as a speaker that will get people to listen to you. Offer your audience a gift. Why do you want to offer them a gift? And I'm going to dive deeper in that, so stay with me. You want to offer them a gift because it will elicit reciprocation from your audience. Let me give you an example. How many of you have kids? Anybody have kids in the room? Okay, for those of you with kids, and I know you've all had this happen, right? Your kid comes to you and they ask you for something one day. They say, Mom or Dad, can I please have this? And you say no. And the next day they come in and they ask again, and you say, no, I'm sorry. And they keep asking, right? Because kids are the best salesmen in the world. They will not take no for an answer. They will keep asking, yes?
No.
Now, after they've asked 20 times, don't you start to feel in your heart of hearts, like, I hate having to tell them no every day. I want to reciprocate with something, right? So if you offer a gift, you will get reciprocation. What is the gift? It could be a secret. It could be value. It could be information. On a sales call, it could be a breakthrough, right, for their business. I'm going to offer you a gift. And when you give something first, then people will want to reciprocate. Now, if you ask for something from an audience first before giving them something, okay, you're going to lose the audience. So that's why speaking is sales, right? Give something first and then ask for reciprocation, and it will come back tenfold. Okay, that's a strategy you'll want to implement.
But do you say, I'm going to tell you a secret, or you say, I'm going to offer you a gift? What are the key words? How do you set that up?
Well, it depends what your subject matter is. Give me an example, and I will tell you what I would do in that situation. Give me an example.
Well, I'm with a client. I see that they need tree work. Hurricane season is upon us. But of course, all I hear is, well, money's tight, the economy is rough, and expect a 50% discount.
Great.
I'm getting all of this before I even
Right, so it becomes a price war and pricing. So let's make it, because I want to take that example and make it broader for the whole audience in a public speaking scenario. Let's say you're speaking on a particular form of, okay, let's go back to gym memberships. I'm selling gym memberships to a group of people, and I want them to take action on buying this gym membership. Okay? And I feel, because I'm good at reading an audience, and you guys are too, I feel that the only thing holding them back is I'm charging $1,000 for this gym membership. And that's a lot of money to a lot of people, right? I'd like to do it, but it's $1,000. Here's another strategy, and you can all use this, and it doesn't have to be for a product. It could be for them taking action on something you're asking them to do, okay? You start talking about opportunity cost. What will it cost you if you don't do this? Okay? I'm asking you to invest $1,000. I'm asking you to invest an hour of your time. I'm asking you to walk 30 minutes a day. I'm asking you to be kinder to your spouse or children. I'm asking, whatever you're asking them to do that they feel like is a difficult thing to do, or ask for that opinion. Say, how many of you think this is difficult? And they all raise their hand, right? They say, yeah, that's hard. Great. What's it going to cost you if you don't? Go ahead and write that down, guys. Ask them to write it down, because their brain will remember something they write down. Now, what's it cost more for you to do that, or what does it cost in the next 15, 20, or 30 years if you don't do this? Okay? What's it going to cost you long-term in your tree service business if you don't invest $1,000 now? Is it going to cost you $50,000 down the road? Right? It's the same idea behind it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm a little bit muddled though, but
Okay.
you give them a gift, you're going to tell them a secret and so forth. And they kind of say, yes, but what I've learned in doing sales for so many years, people buy what they want, they don't necessarily buy what they need.
Correct.
You have to convince them this is what you need. And they don't perceive a value to your service.
Right.
It's like you come to me and says, you know what, I have the greatest Barbie doll for you, Bob, and it's only $1. You couldn't even give it to me for free.
Right. Now, you're talking about sales specific, and this is a one-on-one environment, and I want to keep the subject matter to public speaking. I'd be happy to talk to you about sales, because I've done it for 15 years, so I'll give you some specific thoughts on that. I want to make sure it's relevant for everyone, though, so I don't want to dive too much into sales. Understanding that we are salespeople from the front of the room, but we want to get them to do whatever it is we're asking them to do. And it may not be buying a product. It may just be taking an action.
Right.
Okay? And the way you do that is you have, if someone is not taking the action right now that you want them to take, it's for one very simple reason. You want to write this down. You have not created enough pain for them. Okay? If you ask a couple that you know is having problems to go to counseling, and they say no, you have not made them feel the frustration that you know they probably feel on a daily basis, or the barriers that husband and wife feel together, right? Or that stonewalled loneliness that they feel, right? I'm starting to create some pain now. If you think about a relationship, all those things, okay, if you want to get a couple to go to counseling, create some serious pain. Make them feel the pain. I know that sounds harsh, guys, but if you want them to take action and you know that you have a moral obligation to help that person, then you have to create the pain in order to get them to take action.
At this point, when you meet that resistance, you go back.
You go back to the pain. It's the same thing in sales, right? You go back to the pain. Yes?
Okay, how do you do it? You have a product, and you want to, the price went up. How do you speak to so that people can buy the product when the prices go up?
So you took your prices up and you want to convince them why should you pay more?
Yes, I want to think that it's okay. It's okay to pay more.
Okay, good. I'm so glad you brought that up. Let's take the example of a doctor. Okay? Now you have two kinds of doctors, right? You have the doctor that's been around for 25 years, is board certified, and has a celebrity TV show offering his advice on the many operations and successes that he's had. And then you have somebody that's interned and now they're a resident in any town USA at any town hospital. Okay? And both of these doctors are orthopedists. And one of your children breaks his leg. Which doctor are you going to go to?
The other one.
But he costs more. Why are you going to him?
Because have more expertise.
Expert. He's an expert. Okay? If you want to know how do you charge more money, or how do you get someone to pay more for a particular thing that you're asking them to pay for, you need to establish yourself as an expert. And how do you establish yourself as an expert? Stop selling a product, service, or action and start educating your consumer.
Okay, I have another question. That doctor, the one who's an expert, is a very good doctor. But he's an old doctor. I mean, he's a little bit older than the new one. So he used to charge the price that was in 2000. It was $25 $25 for a consultant. And now the rates went up, the life went up, everything went up, and the secretary wanted a better salary.
Right.
So how do you say to your patient, okay, I cannot charge you any more than $25. The regular price should be $100, $150, whatever.
Right.
So how do you do it? Do you pay up to the market? For your client that have been your client for a long time?
Here's who really establishes prices, guys, on whatever it is. And again, this is getting more into the sales arena, which I want to make sure I don't dive too deep into, so we stay on subject matter. But in terms of sales, prices are not determined by you, okay? They're determined by the people who pay them, okay? So when someone raises their prices and people no longer want to pay that price, that means you haven't established enough value for someone to say it's worth it, right? You haven't established enough value for someone to say that's worth it. Why would someone buy a Bentley or a Rolls Royce when a Honda is going to get them from A to B the same way? Because they see more value in that particular automobile. That's why they can charge $200,000, $300,000 for a car, and another car costs $10,000. Right? It's the same idea. Okay? You have to do the same thing as a public speaker. Okay? You have to establish and give gifts so much value that whatever it is you're asking in return, they will gladly do. Why? Because they see you as an expert. And people will gladly pay more for their child to go to the orthopedist that costs 3 times what the resident wants to charge, because they know things are going to be done right. Okay? People will gladly pay more for an expert if they feel the value is there and things are going to be done right. How do you establish yourself as an expert? I know you're saying, he's repeating himself. It bears repeating. Okay? Repetition's the mother of skill. Educate your consumers. Okay? Educate your consumers.
I remember you saying last time that that you don't necessarily have to be the smartest person
Right.
in that field. You have to position yourself as that person.
That's correct.
Now you're saying that you position yourself as that person by educating.
Right. I think I gave the example of Susie Orman,
Yeah.
right? She's the finance guru specifically for women, right? That's her whole niche, right? Is Susie Orman the smartest financial person in the world? Probably not. In fact, I would venture to say no. I know there are people in the world that are smarter than her. However, they have not given so much value to the general public. Right? She constantly gives and gives and gives, and so therefore has established herself as this expert that people are willing to pay for her books, for her advice, for her coaching, for her DVDs, and she's made herself a multimillionaire many times over, and she is not the smartest or greatest or best.
So
Okay.
when you say she gives and she gives and she gives, you're talking about like what you said with
Advice.
.com.
advice.
Going out there finding people that she could say it to.
Yeah, let me give you free advice. That's what you want to do more of. You want a bigger audience, you want to make more money, you want to get more speaking engagements, you want to be more confident in front of a room, okay? Constantly educate and give advice without an agenda, okay? Just give it of your own volition. That's what will establish you as credible. Yeah?
Would it be beneficial to say everybody in the room, instead of giving advice and letting people know that you're an expert, say your community paper or something, maybe start doing some pieces of information free to the public or something?
Sure. I would create that's called a campaign, and here's how you can do that. If you want to get a bigger audience, let's say you want to get on the radio, okay? You would like to be interviewed on your local radio station. You're not sure how to do that, okay? You create a 10-day campaign. And by the way, this could apply to anything. This could apply to you want to get a new job, you want to get someone to listen to you, you're trying to make a sales call, whatever it is. Create a 10-day campaign, all right? And every single day, you're sending either an email, a snail mail, you're creating a video of yourself that you're shooting over, or you're giving them a free piece of information every day for 10 days, okay? And then on the 11th day, you say, I hope this information was valuable. If you'd like to hear more, I'm available for interviews. Imagine if you did that to a radio station. Okay. I worked in the radio world, by the way, for about 13 years, guys. Consulted with radio stations all over the country, television stations, newspapers, and here's what I will tell you. 99.9% of people that try to get interviews try once. And if they don't get a response from that program director, they give up. Okay? Now, if you created a 10-day, and here's what their pitch was generally. This is my content. I speak about heart health. If you'd like to interview me, call me. How many callbacks do you think they got? Like 0. Okay? The ones that would get a call back are the ones that say, for the next 10 days, I'm going to give you information that you can share with their audience that affects every single one of them about heart health. Feel free to use my information on air. And then on the 11th day, you ask for the interview. That's the person getting the interview. Give advice, give education, give value, and you will get reciprocation 10 times over. All right? If you want respect, you got to give it first. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Everybody with me? Okay. Okay, so we talked about how to make our content appropriate. Is everyone okay with this? Questions on that? Okay. What motivates people to listen? Well, let me ask you guys. What motivates people to listen? What do you think motivates people? What is it?
Common goal.
Common goal. I'm going to write all these things down. What else motivates people to listen?
Solution.
Solution. What else?
Self-improvement.
What is it?
Self-improvement.
Self-improvement. What motivates people to listen? Think about your kids. Why would they listen to you?
Entertainment.
Very good. Do you see how solution and entertainment are infotainment? And that's why people listen, okay? Don't take it from me. This is answers that you guys gave me. You just validated infotainment. Okay, why are the other reasons people listen to you? What do you guys think?
Presentation.
Good. Presentation. Or, I don't know if I'm going to spell this right, presence.
Presentation.
Your presence is what makes your presentation, right? How you present yourself. Your disposition.
Education.
Education. Good. What'd you say?
Your essence.
Essence.
Gains.
What is it?
Gains.
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 And it's not just financial, it could be financial, physiological, psychological, emotional, whatever that gain is. And ideally, if you're a good speaker, you touch on all of them, right? Have any of you ever heard of the financial expert David Bach? Have you ever heard of this guy?
Yes.
He's written like 4 New York Times bestsellers, right? Here's what makes him a good speaker, because when he speaks about your personal finances, he talks about your psychology, he talks about your emotional state, he talks about how it affects your physiology and the studies of how it affects your weight, right? The state of your finances. He touches on all these different emotions. He doesn't just talk about money. That's what makes him good. Right, so you want to touch on it. What are the other reasons that people will listen to you?
Loss.
What motivates them?
Loss.
Fear.
Fear? Good. Fear, loss. Good. Love. Needs. How about wants? Right? Sometimes we listen for things we want that maybe we don't even need. Right? So let's take a look. We talked about problems versus solutions. You guys remember which one motivates, right? Everyone remember? Which one is it?
What's that?
Which one motivates? Problems or solutions? Problems, right? So let's take all these things and figure out, how do you create a problem? What's a need that you don't have? A want that you don't have? A common goal that we need to come to a solution about, right? What's self-improvement that you'd like, but you haven't been able to implement, right? What would you like to be entertained on that you haven't been? What's the presence, right? Education that you'd want that you don't have, right? What are all these problems? Turn these all into problems and then give them the solution, right? That's what will motivate people to listen. I promise. And guys, don't take my word for it. Go test this. Test this in real life. Okay? And then give me a call or shoot me an email and let me know. I will give it to you, I promise. Okay. Quick recap from our previous class. But this is good not only for the new people, but it bears repeating for everyone. These are the 6 keys to a stellar presentation. And I'm going to explain each one of these. Step 1, get your audience from the very beginning saying, me too, not so what. Let me give you an example. Let's say your subject matter is heart health. Heart health.
Okay.
Let's say that's your subject matter. Okay? Here is how you absolutely kill your audience from the beginning. You say, hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to talk to you about heart health. You've lost your audience, right? They say, oh, okay, that's their content. Am I interested? If I'm not, I'm tuning out already. Right? I'm going to show you guys how to get from heart health to happiness. So let's do this exercise right now because I want you to understand the nexus of what I'm talking about. Why is it good to have heart health? Because, why?
Because the heart is the motor. Without motor, we don't work.
Okay, so we stay alive. Okay, so that means life. Why do we want to stay alive?
Or to have fun.
To have fun. And how do we feel when we have fun?
Happy.
Good. So you're not there to talk about heart health, right?
Right.
That is a means to an end. You are there to talk about happiness. Now, if you guys think this is too soft of a subject, try it. Do you want to get your audience engaged? Talk about what you're really there to talk about. The problem is you don't have enough happiness. The solution is better heart health. That's your content that comes later. Follow? So, I want to get my audience to say, me too, not so what. If I say, ladies and gents, I am here today to talk to you about heart health, they're going to say, so what? But if I were to start off my presentation by saying, have you ever felt like you'd like to be happier than you are right now? How many people have ever felt like that? Yeah, me too. Me too. I felt like that too. Now you've started off on the right foot. And in order to be happy, you bring them back to your content, okay? This is, by the way, no different, guys, than what politicians do every single day, okay? You wonder why, how did that guy get elected? Because he answered the question he wanted to answer, or she wanted to answer, not the question that was asked. But you listened, right? You listened. Here's the cool thing. If you want to engage your audience, you got to be different than what everyone else is doing. Everyone else is announcing their content. Don't announce the content, announce the outcome you want. Don't announce the content, announce the outcome you want. All right? What are they going to do with that content that brings you to an outcome? Step 2, you need logic. You need clear, logical reasons why. Why do you need logic? Because you have both a left brain and a right brain, right? One is the logical side, one's the emotional side. You need to affect both. You can't be all emotion, because you got to have substance. Okay? There has to be substance behind it. 3, attack and confess. All right? You need to attack and confess. I'm going to show you how to do that right now.
Okay.
It is through a very old system called FFF, Feel, Felt, Found. This is an ages-old sales system that works when you are public speaking as well. And it works just like this, okay? I have an audience that says, I am not interested in hearing about heart health, okay? I don't have any heart problems, I'm perfectly healthy. And I say, great, and I can certainly understand how you feel. In fact, most audiences I've spoken to before felt the exact same way that you felt right now. But what they found was, by utilizing the information and the secrets that I'm about to share with you, it not only changed their life, it changed the lives of everyone around them. How many people would be interested in changing lives? Okay, show of hands. All right? Feel, felt, found. So attack and confess is a lot like feel, felt, found.